Can we just be kids again? Laughing, holding hands, merry-go-round romance, jump into forever land. No matter the quest, I'm with you to the end. Ooh, through the tears and smiles, rain, sunshine, the clouds. Ooh, can we just thank God for the middle? 'Cause only death can part, but thank God for now.
Baby, let's take a scenic now. We can do the dash show, we can slow down. I think we found our rhythm now. Only death could part us, but thank God for now. All is fair in love and war, okay, I know that's true. Some may pray on us, but we just pray through. Baby, let's take the scene. We can do the dash show, we can slow down. What if we laughed at the things the enemy tried to kill us with? Refuse to hold a grudge even for a little bit.
And so now here we are, right? So now y'all have kids.
Yeah. How many total?
4.
4.
Yeah.
That is so cool.
Mm-hmm.
That's a different story. Children, they introduce you to a different dynamic. And one of the things that, was introduced is that, like, now, how do you raise these kids?
Right.
Because my idea of raising children was different from her idea of raising children. I thought, I turned out all right so that I am going to raise my kids like me.
Yeah.
Well, my mother beat the hell out of me.
Yeah.
And Cynthia never got a beating.
Yep.
So now we got these kids. I'm thinking, like, let me just kill them one time. And then I'll never have to beat them another day in my life.
Yep.
So I'm killing this kid, and Vincent is watching me kill him. So she waits till I finish. She pulls me aside and says, as long as you are black, don't you ever beat my child like that again. And I'm thinking, like, what's wrong? I turned out okay.
Yeah.
So, and so she said, no, we've got to find out how to, correct our children. And so we had to go back to the word, and it caused me to realize that, like, all right, that was another change for me. Like, learning how to co-parent and how to raise our kids. And so that was different.
And I love how you said you had to go back to the word. What's good for them as a couple, as a family.
Yeah.
Because most people would be like, no, this is the way I want to raise my kids. And the other spouse adapts, and that causes tension too.
Yeah. And I think some of those pre-conversations are so irrelevant because until you see the infraction, you don't really know how you're going to react.
Because every child has a different personality too.
So you over here, y'all arguing before you get married, talking about how you're going to discipline your kids.
Right.
Well, trust me, when the infraction comes, even what you said 5 years ago can change. Right, I didn't know they was gonna start robbing people. Right,
It's a different
I thought they just was not gonna be doing their homework when I said you couldn't beat them.
Right,
this one robbed somebody.
This one is different. Absolutely, I love it.
I kind of want to put my hands on them firmly, but not aggressively.
But going back to the word and saying, "Okay, God, how do we raise this child that you gave us?" That's a whole different.
Yeah, because oh my God, and like I say, it's perpetual, and you got to be okay a lot of times with hearing God's voice and trusting that you will hear His voice.
Absolutely,
you can't always pre-bake.
No.
The future.
That's right.
In your marriage, raising children is really when you see the gifts of the Spirit in operation. Most people look at it in a church service or revival or a conference, but God does speak prophetically concerning your children.
Yep.
You get a word of knowledge, a word of wisdom, definitely discerning of spirits. Gifts of faith. I mean, all of that comes into play when you're married and having children. I mean, you see God move in mighty way, but you got to look to Him for it.
I was just turned 8.
Yes.
And we haven't had to cast out no devil yet.
No, but that attitude be rising up, though.
There were moments where I looked at her. I said, Rashida,
get her.
This is beyond me. I don't. This right here. All
right, I got it.
The level that she had to go through to do what she did, she had to say yes to some things that I don't think we want to play around with.
See, I waited because, of course, when she started of course, she's daddy's girl. So everything she did was just like, oh, daddy's girl. And I was the disciplined person. Now I hear him say, did you hear what your mom said? I'm like, it's about time. It's about time. He be like, Amber, I'm trying to help you.
I grew up in the church. I love the church. I stayed at the church. I don't have the runaway comeback story. And when she's like I said, my girl, she made up a story one day. It was so elaborate. I said, that is deception.
I said, she's lying.
I know what I see. Like, girl, you deceived. You attempted to deceive me.
I said, we're gonna knock this out. I said, you will not lie. But I was like, but she sounds so believable. I said, she's lying. And if we're okay with this, it can evolve to something even worse. I said, I'll go get her.
Yeah,
he'll say, who gonna whoop her? Me or you? I'm like, you're not gonna whoop her. He said, you're right. You're gonna do it.
Do what you got to do. This is right here. This right here. This is not me.
Yeah.
But it is. And I think that it's like, man, I do. We dated for 4 years. Mm-hmm. And I know we're in a time where that's not necessarily everyone's story.
No,
and I tell you all the time, either you're going to learn before or after I do, but you're going to learn.
I think it helped us dating. I mean, we were young too.
Yeah.
You were like 19. I was like 20, 21. Like, I think because we dated such a young...
You doing that with them numbers.
Because we dated and we were young, we kind of went through some things before marriage. I think it helped.
Yeah.
Now kids are, people are getting married young, but they're not. It's just like you said, either now or later.
Either now or later, you're going to have to learn.
Yeah.
Before or after I do.
The difference is if we had an issue, you go to your house, I go to mine.
Yeah.
Because we weren't married. So it was a lot easier to cope and deal with.
That's what you call it?
Yeah. It's different now. You can't walk. You can go into a room, but that's about it.
You can't run. I'm coming.
Yep. It's all good. We'll work it out.
But yes, how many kids? So you have 4 kids.
4 kids.
Oldest being and youngest being, right?
Yes.
What's the oldest?
Age?
Aaron is the youngest. He's 30.
30.
Okay.
Yes. And Tony is the oldest.
Mm-hmm.
He's 49.
49.
49.
That's 20 years of separation.
My goodness. Bryan, your numbers.
I'm just doing the math because that's a whole evolution of time.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. And have you guys noticed that there's a difference in that time when it comes to kids and it comes to raising them, it comes to, and how do you even feel about that? Do you feel like there's like this moment to where, I know my mama, she's sitting right over there. But my mama actually was like, believe it or not, she was the one that was a little bit more boisterous about once y'all get grown, like y'all gone. Versus my father, he was definitely more, I'm going to say, compassionate towards understanding we're in this together. Like, I still remember when we moved, I want to say we're 3 years into our marriage, when we moved back into my parents' house, I went and asked my daddy. I was like, let me go ask my daddy. I don't know if my mama would have said yes. So I went to my daddy first, because I already know she was infamous of kicking both my brothers out of the house.
By the way, he didn't ask me if I wanted to move back in with his parents. You kind of just said, hey, we need to. And it's like, I didn't want to go.
Ain't no point of ruffling feathers if I can get no yes. So let me go get a yes first before I come back. But hey, I got an idea.
Right. Right.
So he agreed. Well, he did also tell you need to go tell her father.
I didn't see that coming though.
Yeah, Bryan was like, wait, what?
He said, yeah, you can come move back into my house, but you got to go tell her daddy that you bringing her back to my house. I said, wait, what? You want me to go talk back to her daddy? Why I'm talking back to her daddy?
Because you said I do, and I was supposed to go with you.
That's what he said.
So I respected that. Pastor Bryan said, you got to go talk to her dad and tell her you moving her.
He was good for telling me something that I didn't see coming at all point in time.
Yeah, he was with me. That's awesome.
We lived with his parents for about a year. It seemed like it was forever, but
it
felt like forever. But it was probably about a year. But it was cool. I think with our kids, I don't know how you feel about them. I will probably be the one that let all of them come live with me. I wish they all could live with me now. I always tell them to come home.
Yeah.
They all live on their own, except for, Antoinette's still here. But I would probably invite all of them to live with me.
We feel the same about that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like being around them. I love my kids.
Yeah.
They're fun.
I wish I could call my mom up here so I can get her on record, because I don't think she feel the same way.
Brian, that's not true. She likes when we're all there.
She right now currently wraps all of her furniture in plastic when we come over like we aliens,
Because she has 12 grandchildren.
Listen.
Your mom is my friend. Now don't talk about my friend.
I want to bring up here because I feel like we might, we might get to be able to sit on the furniture again. We sit on the furniture now.
Stop it. So when you guys moved back home, how long were you married when you moved in with?
Oh, we were, we weren't married that long, maybe a year. What happened, we lived in an apartment. And one day I woke up and the whole apartment, we lived on the first floor and it was flooded.
Whoa.
Like he was at work. I was a stay-home mom our whole marriage. I never worked outside the marriage. I wake up and the whole floor, I called him at work. He's at work. The apartment is full of, he says, I'm moving out of the apartment. We're moving into a house. We're getting out. He pack up your stuff. We're getting out today.
Okay.
So he packed up everything. We went to go live with his mom. He went to go look for us a house. He said, we're moving into a house. Now, we couldn't hardly afford the apartment. He said, we're moving into the house.
He's living by faith at that point.
I'm like, literally. He went to church that Sunday. And we had testimony services in that church that time. He got up and said, me and my wife are moving into a house. I was like, oh! When we found the realtor, we even go look at the house and we found the house we liked. He said, that's the house. Baby, you want this house? I want this house. And then we went to go fill out the paperwork and the guy laughed at us. He said, you can't even afford an apartment. He said, how you going to move into this house? Because he's the only one working. And then he laughed at us. He said, I don't care. He said, you can laugh at me all you want to. I'm moving in that house.
Wow. I love it.
But lo and behold, we moved into that house.
Wow.
And probably lived in there, maybe 10 years before we paid it off.
Wow.
Because he said, we're not staying here. We're moving to the house.
The masterclass.
Pastor Tony is top tier.
He's sitting back out of school, but the masterclass is continuing.
Let me tell you something.
I'm gonna give you 2 more before the brothers ain't gonna want to watch this podcast no more. You're getting 2 more.
Top tier.
One of those.
Top tier.
I got questions. So the apartment floods.
Mm-hmm.
You say, pack up your bags because we move into a house.
I'm coming. I would have did it all. That's awesome.
We only stayed with his mother that long because the house he found for us had a contingency on it, and they contingent upon the people finding their home.
Right.
So it took them 9 months before they could find a home that they want. So we're with his mom all that time, or his parents, I should say, at that time. And it wasn't, they were wonderful. They treated us royally. But I was just uncomfortable. Understanding that, I told you the story before when they said I was not the one. I met them when he proposed. Oh. So I'm going to meet you for the first time.
Yeah,
the first time you meet him. Wait a minute. How long was y'all dating before the first time you met his parents?
It was well over a year.
Wow. See, some women would have been like,
Wait.
Because you want to meet the family.
The masterclass continues.
Right? The masterclass. So why? Why so long?
Well, how are you? Wait.
Because we were just friends. It was just...
No, friends even meet.
Wait.
No, not really. Because it was no commitment there. We were just friends. As a matter of fact, when he was like, I don't know what I should do. They're telling me this, telling me that. I was like, well, you do you, bro.
Right.
And so I was going out with other people. He would come over my house to see me. I'll be going out the door with somebody else. He go, hey, dude.
I didn't know that.
We were supposed to be working our way around the corner, but y'all done brought us all the way back.
So you were dating other people?
I would go out.
Did he know that?
Yeah, he would be in my house while I was going out. And be there when I get back.
And be there when you get back. Wait.
You was living my faith then.
So you liked her. You had to have liked her.
Yeah.
How was that for you? Man. Wait. I need a fan or something.
This is before or after or during when you said Jesus told, like, you are my wife.
After he told
this
her.
Is before or after?
She said, do you, boo?
So wait, so after
he said that.
After he said,
we didn't talk about it.
You are my wife.
For a while. Then he came back to me and said, remember the night that God said you are my wife? And I said, yes, I remember. He said, I missed God. I didn't hear from God. And I said, okay. And so he still came over every day, but I moved on. I went out. He would come over. I'll be going out. He'd be coming in. I'll be going out.
And he just say, hey, and you would say, hey, and that was it.
He never called me. He never, to this day, he doesn't even call me.
How you felt about her going over?
He just come over. And I'm like, I'm going out. He says, okay. He wait till the dude get there and he go, hey, how you doing? My name Tony. What's your name?
This is blowing me. He had to have some kind of feeling, some kind of reaction.
I don't know. He never said
Tony.
So wait, whoa, we got to.
What is happening?
So he says, I just want everybody to be on the same page. God told me you're my wife. He then retracts the statement.
Yes.
Because of what everybody told him.
Because of what everybody told him. That was that backslide you was mentioning earlier. And now I'm catching up. That was the backslide. However, you still was at the house.
Oh, yes.
Witnessing.
He liked her still.
Yeah.
Pastor Cynthia go out on dates. But you would park at the house. Was this intentional?
And waiting for her to come back.
For her to come back. What was really
I would left.
I went to her house because I enjoyed our time together with the Lord.
He did.
It really.
So you was there for
So you were waiting for her to come back.
The fellowship.
The guys didn't bother me. They really didn't. It didn't bother me like
But it had to bother them. What was so when they came
They
back?
never asked me who was he? Was your cousin, your friend? They never asked me about him. Never. Nobody ever asked me.
They would drop you off. He is here.
That's right.
He's here. Not going nowhere. Like he belongs here.
What were your parents thinking? Like, poor Tony. Like he just sitting here waiting. He had to interact with other people. Pastor Tony, please say something.
I don't know what he was thinking. He was like, he would say stuff to me when that was at that time. Like he would come over to see me and we would be talking and the phone ring. Like he was like, can we have a conversation without your phone ringing? Like my phone would ring all the time. Somebody was always calling me.
He liked her.
He came over.
Oh, no, without a doubt. Like I'm not even questioning that.
He came over for Valentine's Day. He bought me this big box of candy and this card for Valentine's Day
treats.
And so
you don't do that for friends. You don't bring Valentine's Day.
No, this is funny because I said, oh, thank you so much. So we're sitting downstairs and he's like, well, let's go upstairs in your room. Because every time he came over, we went upstairs in my room. And my parents was fine with that. Because they could hear us. We'd be, we'd be praying and stuff. So he said, let's go upstairs. I said, no, that's not. Let's just sit down here. He's like, no, come on. I didn't want him to come in my room. So I finally gave into it. He came in, he looked at my room. There was flowers everywhere, candy everywhere, cards, big cards. And he's like, give me my candy. I'm taking it back.
Go eat my own
candy. And then he proceeds to open up all the boxes of candy that other people had given me and started eating. He said, I'm eating their candy.
Wait, and not once did you say, why? We were not together?
And then it was a few months later, he came over, we were sitting talking. And then he's like, hey, wait a minute. Your phone ain't ringing. What's up? I said, I can't believe your phone. I said,
her phone literally rang every 3 to 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Literally. Ding, ding. You couldn't have a conversation with her.
So it stopped ringing. He said, wait a minute. Your phone ain't ringing. What's up? I said, I told everybody I know, don't call me no more. And he had the biggest smile on his face.
There it is.
The man has arrived.
There it is.
I'm him.
said, I put that work in. He put that work and the determination. Ooh, there's light at the end of the tunnel.
She said, I told nobody call me no more.
He just smiled. He's like, okay, I'm good. He said, I'm good now.
You know, I knew you were a great man of faith. But that right there, that's faith in motion.
Man, I'm telling you.
That's faith.
I don't know if I can
That's
do it.
persistence. That's patience. That's all of that wrapped up into one. You to be able to watch this go down.
And he's coming every day.
Every day.
Every day.
Every day. And just, my God. No wonder you had a list. You had to make sure this is nipped in the bud. So you got to observe where everybody else lacks.
Every day. Well, you came to my house every day for 4 years straight.
Yeah, but I ain't watched no other men. Just
yeah, that's true. That's rough. I think you would have left.
I wasn't dating. It was just friends.
It don't matter.
It don't matter. Valentine's Day, phone calls?
No, he was over there one day. A guy came and gave me and asked me to marry him with a ring.
Wait a minute, Bryan. This gets crazier and crazier.
You witnessed the proposal.
Don't forget, I'm the man.
You got to be. That's what I'm saying. Like, this is.
He witnessed.
You witnessed a whole proposal.
That was
did
funny.
You jump in? Like, what?
That was funny.
You just let it. Did you know
let it unfold?
No, I didn't know he was going to do it, but he did it. Popped the
that
ring
was
out.
funny.
He popped the ring out. You
got on his
sitting there.
knees.
That was crazy. It was crazy.
Did you know him?
No. Neither did I. That mattered. That like that. So, I didn't either.
What is happening?
I told you we were going to 2 different churches. Like, it got so crazy at the church that I was going. Because I'm home, graduated from college, home from college, going to church. You're a new person now. So I'm in church, and all these, it was a lot of young people at the church. So they all thought I was their wife. Pastor, they was Cynthia. God told me you're my wife. I heard every day, every Sunday, somebody different.
Wow.
And one guy had a nerve to just give me a ring too. It was crazy. So he's going to another church. I said, you need to start coming to church with me. Help me.
Oh.
So we ward off some of these guys so they can think. So they can think we're dating.
Still not dating though.
Right. So he started coming to church with me. And so they stopped talking to me then.
Wow.
They
weren't even dating. They were just friends.
No, I'm just trying to figure out. So when this guy pulls out a ring, what's going through your head? Are you just this ain't gonna last? I don't need to panic. Now I shouldn't jump in?
No.
He knew I liked him.
Telling you, I'm the man.
But that's a whole nother level.
You heard what she said? She said he knew I liked him, so he wasn't concerned.
No.
When that would be the moment to go ahead and panic. It's one thing to know you're the man.
That's the moment to become insecure.
Yeah.
It's one
you
thing.
were just waiting for him to say something that he wanted to date you or be with you.
Was I waiting for him to say something?
Well, clearly you weren't. You were going out with other people.
At that moment, no. At that time, no. I was just really, I was just more concerned about being in the will of God. So if he felt like not being with me was the will of God, I'd rather you be in the will of God. So I wasn't concerned about. So that's why I just I just moved on.
Yeah.
We were friends. I just moved on.
Wow.
And God did speak to me about him being my husband. He really did.
Wow.
But I said to the Lord, I'm not going to make him marry me because you said that.
Yeah.
I feel like if he doesn't do what you said, you have something better for me.
Wow.
And I'm willing to wait for the better.
I need to write that down for some lady.
I'll wait for the better. So whatever.
You know ain't nothing better than me.
Respect.
I am.
So
this is
but
good.
When I had everybody stop calling me and we were seeing each other more and more regularly, I knew then that he had made up his mind.
And I'm still just trying to get to the first time you met his parents is after
he proposed.
Yeah,
after you said yes.
But now I can understand like that lead up right? Because for most people, like they would want to have that interaction.
I mean, I shouldn't say I did. I met them at their home after that.
Gotcha.
I met them in church because he invited me to church.
Oh, okay.
I saw them and I would speak to them in church, but they didn't know me. I didn't really know them.
It's just so differently because now people, modern, now they want to know the person really, really well before you say I do. Like the family dynamic.
Like that's a huge...
I went on vacations with your family before we got married.
Yeah, that's like a huge...
It's a whole different situation.
Like stopping space for people now is if they don't have or feel as though there's this connection with your whole family that they will literally feel as though we don't work.
Right.
That is a prerequisite to success for them. And so that's why it's like I stop at those moments is because that's where a lot of people are struggling with.
Yeah.
That they are feeling like God called them together. They're feeling like this is what God wants to do. But then they meet the parents, they see the parents, they have bad interactions or no interactions. Or they say, man, I have this dream of all of us being on this big family vacation together. How's that going to happen? Your mom don't even talk to me. Your dad don't even like me. And those become the points to where now everything that they believe God is doing stops. And what we found out, what most people actually experience after they've been married for some time is all them people come around. All them people adjust, all those people find, or it takes time even sometimes, because it's like the reason why you even love this person is because you've had all these conversations
with them,
and they haven't had those conversations. They haven't had those moments. So that's why I always kind of pause, like just to see, and hear like what was really moving you forward, given that that's not what most people would consider normal or okay.
Well, I didn't take it personal. I don't think because they didn't know me. They was just going on what someone else has said or what they thought about this other person. So they didn't know me. So I didn't have any kind of feeling about it. When I met them, they was cool. They was cool with me. I mean, when we went to go live with them, again, they treated me very, very nicely. They, loved at that time, Antoinette was like a baby, newborn. So they loved her and they treated us really well. Even his mom, she's been living with us for the last 8 years. She tells me she loves me every day, 3-4 times a day.
Wow.
3-4 times a day. I'm so glad he married you. I don't know where I'd be. I'd probably be dead if I wasn't with you. You not take care of me. She take good care of me. Yeah. So I hear that all the time.
Yeah. But you said something to start that statement, which is simple, but it's actually a very, very powerful mindset to carry. As you said, they didn't know me.
Right.
And that for some people, that alone isn't enough for them to be okay with what they are even trying to force in certain moments.
Right.
And it's like, no, sometimes people just don't know you yet. I still remember Rashida, and when I first met her, she had red hair. And she asked me questions like, are your family gonna be okay with my red hair? They think you'd be okay if you dating a girl with red hair? And I'm thinking, I don't know if that is always going to be, you always going to have red hair. But girl, if you love your red hair, that's all right with me, right? And there's always a lot of little questions, always a lot of little things that seem as though they're obstacles or hindrances that truthfully, once someone gets to know somebody over time, that it all grows, it all works out, right?
Yeah. Well, that too, and you just want to make sure I didn't want to come to them. I didn't know what their expectations were. Yeah. So I got tattoos. I got this. I got that. Because of, when you're dating someone in the church, especially when you were my first guy that I dated in church, I just wanted to make sure I was respecting their space.
And then
I feel the same way. I mean, you have these thoughts in your mind what you think other people are going to think about you because you just never know, And the same when we did get married, and we got married in October, and December I'm pregnant.
Yeah.
And so we were making decisions, we're going to have a baby. What are we going to do? Like, are we raising this baby what are we doing? Am I staying home? Because I grew up, my mom was a stay-home mom. So it never really crossed my mind until I'm getting ready to have a baby. And I'm thinking, what is his parents going to think? You married this girl and you know, she's not working. You trying to take care of your whole... I'm thinking, what is everybody going to think? You know, and it was all internal. It wasn't nothing coming from them or anything. And so, you know, when God spoke to me about, I want you to stay home, I never even said anything to him because I'm like, what is he going to think?
Right.
I don't know him that way either. He might be thinking, girl, you better get you a job. You know, I ain't out here by myself trying to make ends meet. But, you know, God spoke to him about the same thing. And for me to stay home.
Wow.
And so that was a decision we made together. And we never had any issues without either one of our parents concerning it. Because you know, my parents send you to school 4 years, get a college education. We both got degrees, got good jobs. You going to quit your good job, you know, to stay home?
Yeah. No. And I do want to, so there's something, and I would love to because I see that there's this combination, you know, and I'm a person, I try to find the patterns. And when something breaks a pattern, I'd be like, oh, you're kind of breaking the pattern. I'm not saying it's not impossible. I'm just saying you don't necessarily fit the mold of what makes this possible. And what I'm saying is I meet a lot of young couples, and that is their thought, that I'm going to go to work and my wife is going to stay home. The pattern that I see them breaking is I know the husband and I know you don't have faith. And I'm like, bro, you get scared when you don't have money to upgrade to a supersized meal at McDonald's. You know, like you the thought of zero scares you, right? That you are still working on trusting God, and you think you're going to be able to just flip this switch. However, the pattern I do find is, and I see that with y'all, is you're an incredible man of faith. And so to say, oh, no, I'm okay with this. Well, put that on the foundation of how you trust God, right? This is the same man that when the apartment's flooded, we finna go get a new house, right? Like that's the mentality. And I do think, right, that a lot of men are trying to figure out how to navigate that desire or that vision that they have of having a wife that stays home. Yet they don't have the mentality that makes this be fruitful or makes this be something that they can actually walk in with peace, right?
I think it starts with just having small encounters with God.
Yeah.
You know, you can't tackle something so huge if you haven't walked through the smaller pieces.
Things. Absolutely.
And so it's a journey. It's not your journey toward God, but I think it's God's journey and story toward you. Discover what that is.
Wow.
And then that makes it possible to, you know, do the impossible.
Yeah.
Because it's not your journey, it's his toward you. And so, you know, I love the story between David and Goliath. He beat a bear and he beat a lion before he ever dealt with a giant. So what's your story?
Yeah.
Follow the story that God is, you know, coming towards you. And then that's the story you need to win out in every area in life, whether it's your personal life, your relational life, your financial life, mental, emotional life. There is a story that's already been told, which is his story towards you. Which is...
You know, this is a marriage podcast, but I would love for you to unpack that statement. His story towards you, that most certainly hits me very different.
Right.
You know, even makes me in this moment just think about his story towards me. Because that's big. Because a lot of us want to dictate what that is.
Exactly.
And I've seen a lot of people get in very bad situations trying to dictate that story instead of receiving how God has really moved in their relationship with him.
That's right.
And I am a big component of, you know, the reason why, you know, God asks you to believe in a resurrection in order to be saved because anything else should be downhill from there. that God always gives you the goods you need for where you're going. Like he's that good. So if you believe you're saved, honestly, everything else is downhill if you think about it. You know, think about what you actually believe.
That's right.
In order to be saved. And so I'm saying that to say that, you know, for men that are looking and believing like, oh, this is our story. You know, I believe that you should work from home. I believe that God's going to provide. You know, I think that is important for them to sit and see, like, what has been God's story towards me? You know, I believe it can give strength. I believe it can give the confidence not to waver, you know, when you step into that journey and you now have to continue that walk of faith, right? When most people I talk to, most people that I interact with, they're trying to figure out how to get to a place to eliminate trusting God from their life.
Oh, wow.
You know, they're asking literally, God, provide in a way where I no longer have to talk to you.
Wow.
Right. You know, I want to be the peace I'm looking for is the peace I can control, not the one you give. Right.
That's right.
And this is where most people are, but yet they're making decisions that, especially in marriage, that I hope you understand that we talk to, just because of our journey, we talk to a lot of people who are believing God for kids. And one thing I always tell them is, I hope you understand that it's one thing to believe God for a kid, but you have to remember, once that kid shows up, you got to keep believing God as they live. Yes. Right. That you're trusting that God, that you get that positive pregnancy test, but then you're going to have to trust God for a successful actual birth. Then you have to trust God for a successful actual trip to school and back home. Like this, you're opening up a journey. Not getting a destination, you know. So I think that's incredible. You know, I can say I believe you've delivered a masterclass. You know, a masterclass. But yes, you know, we've had a good time. I don't know if there's anything that's left on your hearts that you want to share, but always when we close out, we'd love to just, if anything, you was like, I really wanted to say this. Floor is open.
Go ahead, baby.
No, I'm just looking at you. I mean, I think it's great what we've talked about. It's so much easier when you discover God's journey towards you.
Yeah.
It becomes a conviction.
Yeah.
And it's easy when you know his story.
Yeah.
Like it was his story for me to marry her.
Yeah.
And it's such a game changer. You cease from all of this human effort.
Yeah.
And human effort gets involved when you're writing your own story.
Right.
Yeah. And that's where you get disappointed. But it's so much easier when you can just stop with that.
Yeah.
Even when you said that this person they're trying to get to a place where they don't have to trust God. They're writing their own story.
Right.
Yeah. And you know, all life begins with him.
Yeah.
And his story. You know, let us make a man.
Yeah.
In our own image and after our likeness.
Yeah.
And let him have dominion. Well, that's where the story begins.
Yeah.
So I think that's the biggest problem in this generation is we're trying to rewrite our own stories.
Yeah.
True.
What it is to be married, what it is to be a male, what it is to be a female.
Yeah.
What it is to do life.
Yeah.
You know, Jesus said something that is so dynamic to me. He said to them, he said this to his disciples, he says, the thief comes to steal, kill, and destroy, but I came that you might have life.
Yeah.
Now he's talking to people that already are breathing.
Yeah.
Can you imagine what do you mean? I'm alive.
Yeah.
And so the life that people are living, they're living their own story.
Yeah.
I'm about to give you the life that's in me and the story that's in me for you.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I can imagine I'm breathing. I'm already alive. What are you talking about? Well, God has a life for you.
An abundant life.
Yeah.
You know, the Ecclesiastes say everything that now is has already been. And everything that will be has already been. And God is looking for those things that have passed by so that history repeats itself or his story repeats itself.
Yeah.
So he has a story that's already been written Ephesians 2:10 says we are recreated, born anew. He's prearranged, made ready a life for us to live in. And I don't think as Christians, we have really tapped into that life in its totality.
Yeah.
That the life he came to give us, that is born in that salvation, that resurrection power you talked about, that what we call the grace realm that he's called us to live in, we haven't tapped into it. We're still allowing everything we see to dictate to us the story that we live, and not another reality that he's made available to us, which is a kingdom reality, a heavenly reality, that we would live from heaven to earth and not earth to heaven. Right now, we're looking and we're moved by everything we see as opposed to what he said.
Wow.
And so when you talk about the marriage covenant, it's the same, because it's not about us. It's about a relationship that he has with Christ and the church.
Wow.
And if we can see that relationship, then we can see this relationship.
Wow.
That's good.
And so that's what's most important. His journey toward us, his life that he wants us to live, and to live it in every aspect of our life, where there's not a need that he won't meet. That's how we live.
Amen.
There's nothing that he has not already provided for. Whether it's you want to have a baby, whether it's your financial needs in your life, being free of sickness and disease, all of those things, he's already provided everything for us. Now, how do we get that life to manifest in this life that we live in?
Yes.
And that's what he wants for us.
Well, that's what the cross did. It disconnected us from this reality and gave us a new reality, which created another flow.
Yeah.
So this flow that we're now connected to provides all those things.
Yeah.
We just need to get in the flow.
Yeah.
Get in the flow.
That's it.
And I love it.
Yeah.
Mom, you have something you want to say as we close?
No. This is good. This was really good.
Yes, it was. And we do. We thank you guys for tuning in and watching. We thank Pastor Cynthia and Pastor Tony Brazelton for joining us. We know that this has been fruitful. It's been awesome. And until we see you again, till death do us part.
No matter the quest, I'm with you to the end. Through the tears and smiles, rain, sunshine, or clouds. And we just thank God for the middle, 'cause only death can part, but thank God for now.
Baby, let's take a scenic now. We can do the dash show, we can slow down. I think we found our rhythm now. Only death could part us, but thank God for now. All is fair in love and war, okay, I know that's true. Some may pray on us, but we just pray through. Baby, let's take the scene. We can do the dash show, we can slow down. What if we laughed at the things the enemy tried to kill us with? Refuse to hold